Hey everyone, Steve here for Who Took My Dice Miniature Wargaming. First off, I want to apologize. Yesterday was Monday and I didn't get a chance to get a video. I actually had to go into school for a little while. It kind of messed the whole process of the day up. So, first off, apology. I am sorry for that. I promised every Monday. First Monday I couldn't do it. Today we're getting a video up. So, as you see, the title of this particular video is called For the Uninitiated. It's a weird title, but I'll get to why it's called that. I originally want to call it, this one is for the parents. Basically, with Christmas just happening, New Year's, gift cards, new box sets, kids of all ages and genders and what have you have all gotten new Warhammer, new X-Wing, Privateer Press stuff, Age of Sigmar, or whatever. Along with all that joy that these kids get, or these even kids like us, people who've been enjoying it, comes a whole ton of confusion for their families. I know my family went through it. They're like, what is this stuff? They had no idea. Right over their head. Right? I could say, hey, you know, I love myself a Land Raider with those twin-linked las cannons, and it right over their head. What's a Land Raider? Why is it twin-linked? And what's a las cannon? Right? So, my idea, it expanded from just parents, because obviously there's boyfriends, girlfriends, husbands, wives, sons, daughters, cousins, nephews, everybody, right? I decided, what's the best way to help these parents and brothers and sisters, all these people who don't know about it, how to help them out, how to get them eased into it so they can at least understand why their family loves this stuff, why they're so interested in it, right? So that's what this is all about. So it's going to be a multi-part series because I want to delve into this one, just the basics, well, sort of the general overview, why we love it and why their family members love miniature wargaming. And the other parts will be delving into specifics about what exactly the rule book is, how models, sort of the process of how you put together and paint these models, things like that, army books, the peripherals, why dice, why rulers, why cards for some games. So that's for later. This one, we'll dive right in now. What is miniature wargaming? Well, to put it simply, it's a game that involves two, for the most part, built and painted armies using mostly dice, a variation of various sizes and amounts, rulers, and rule books to play the game. You usually play it on a table that's been set up with terrain. It can be store-bought, homemade. It can be as simple as a green sheet on a table. And so the players take turns going back and forth and moving their models around, using whatever tactics or ideas they come with, and using dice to determine the outcomes of, you know, firing their weapons, fighting close combat, magic, psychic powers, all that cool stuff. And in the end, one player tries to outplay the other one using one of their tactics and special rules their army has. And that's one of the major reasons why people love it. You get this awesome game, right? It doesn't matter what universe or planet it's being played on, in their realm, I should say. That's what attracts people. So you'll see like little Timmy or little Janie there opening a box. Out come these frames of plastic or containers with resin models. Some even metal still. And what happened? It's all in pieces. Yes, a lot of this, not all of it, a lot of it has to be built and painted. That brings in glues, clippers, the paintbrushes, paints. And that's the other aspect that attracts a lot of people, is this hobby aspect. You actually get to build and paint these models, so it is your army. You put your own touches on it. For instance, most of you may know, I play Ultramarines for Warhammer 40,000. It's a sci-fi game. Lots of people play Ultramarines. Mine is my own army, though. I have my own special way of painting it, my own color scheme when it comes to it, the variations of the hues of the different colors. It's my army. I built it my way. I arm the miniatures the way I want them to be armed. Well, within the rules, of course. And so that's the other aspect. So you have this gaming aspect and you have a hobby aspect. And some people just love the gaming. They'll build and paint the miniatures as fast as they can, paint it and just dry brush them, whatever, paint them up. I'll get to dry brushing there. Paint them as fast as they can just so they can go out and play the games. Other people, they prefer the painting side, and so they will just paint. There's some people that's all they do. They don't know the rules. They don't care who's armed with what and what special ability they have. All they care is that they've made that model look absolutely fantastic. And if you look it up, it's amazing stuff. It's absolutely amazing. There's some people out there that can achieve a level realism of a 1-inch model. It just blows my mind every time. So you might be thinking, well, that's cool. Okay, I can see some of that. But what else? Well, a lot of it comes down to those rule books I mentioned before. Every game has its own rule book. And it's broken down in a couple different sections. One is the rules. Obviously, those are probably the most important things. It gives you a guide on basically the step-by-step of each turn, what each player can do in that turn, any sort of universal special rules that affect the whole game, and you also get a rundown of the different types of units, whether it's a unit that's on foot, one that's riding some sort of vehicle or animal, stuff like that, artillery, what have you. You also get some background fluff, and that's another thing that attracts a lot of people, is these crazy stories. You usually get a history, a background of the universe that this game takes place in. Most of them contain sort of fluffy story, we call it fluff, which is just stories, right? Based on some of the characters or beings in that universe. You get a cool fluff. Usually it's some sort of combat-oriented story. And that's another thing that attracts people. The fluff, this background. You usually get several pages of a sort of a gallery of finished models in a battle scene. So again, another way to really people get hyped and motivated. You see these awesome armies painted up, about to square off each other on a beautiful battlefield. And again, that motivates people, gets people excited. So when next time you're looking and you see your young cousin or what have you sitting there, and he's just flipping through pages, digesting everything, and he's putting them all together at, you know, the blur speed, you can actually say, hey, you know, okay, I get it. This is exciting for him. One piece of what it offers, dive in with them. Get to know it as well. You don't have to like it at all. There's there's no reason you have to just jump in and like it like that, but at least understand it, right? And the biggest thing, let them nerd out about it. This is a huge one, because I see a lot of parents, especially around the Games Workshop, the kids are like, oh, Mom, look at that Cat Space Race. It's awesome. He's got a power fist. And the parents like, yeah, whatever, Timmy. I'm busy. I get nerd out with them, right? This is a big one. This is one of the things that I really want to direct at parents first, but it's for anybody. Let your kids nerd out about their stuff. Let them have fun with this hobby. The other big aspect to it, which I think a lot of people like, is the fact that it's a social hobby. It's a social game. You're not just sitting at a computer screen or you know, sitting watching TV. You're actually playing face-to-face with someone. So there's interaction, social interaction. It's fantastic, and it's hard nowadays. I know. My son wants to watch his movies, wants to play on his DS, wants to play Pokemon Go. It's screen time, screen time, screen time. And eventually you're like, okay, back off, let's do something fun. So if your kids are into this, dive in with them, right? You don't have to like it. You don't even have to fully understand. Just realize that they're passionate about it, and they like it. And it's a great way to just spend time with your kids. I love it. My son doesn't have to, but if he does get into it, or my daughter even, when she's old enough, I'm going to be there with them. Even if they want to play a game I've never heard of, some game that's going to come in the future, I'm going to let them nerd out about it because it's something they're passionate about. They'll be able to make friends with it. It's fantastic. Now, the other two things I wanted to mention is there's always, I call them excuses as to why parents don't want to do it or family members don't want to do it, and that's timing and age. So there's three things, like the Spanish Inquisition there. Timing, the time you spend on it, the cost of these hobbies, and age. Excuse me. So the first one, age. Most of them do have sort of an age put on them, and that's for a whole bunch of different reasons. Some stuff, it may not be appropriate for younger kids. There's the maturity level. You want kids to understand that, you know, you're working with glues, you're working with paints. None of it's really toxic. Well, the glues can be if you ingest it, but none of it's really horribly harmful. But at the same time, the kids have to be mature enough to respect it, and that's sort of where the family comes in. So if you're looking at, I don't know, War Machine from Privateer Press. Fantastic tabletop game. And you're thinking, hey, you know, my 6-year-old, maybe you wait a few years, right? Because at 6, they might not understand all the intricacies that go into it. The other two bigger ones, though, is time spent on it and cost. So I always see those two as more of investments than any negatives. Yes, it takes time to do stuff. And yes, these things do cost money. But you're making an investment in the happiness and enjoyment of your children. When I worked at Games Workshop, I think I mentioned this before in my Red Shirt Chronicles videos. And if you haven't seen those, check them out, please. And part of it is we had Swarovski parents. That sounds weird. There's a store called Swarovski that sells little crystal miniature characters. Like they're Disney and doves and all that stuff. Which is fine. The reason we called them Swarovski parents is because they would sit here and go, well, I'm sorry, little Timmy, $60 is too much to spend on plastic that you actually get more than $60 worth of enjoyment out of. But now I'm going to go spend hundreds of dollars on crystal figures that I'm going to put in a, you know, shelving unit somewhere and touch maybe once in a while, look at once in a blue moon. That always bothered me. Yes, this takes time. It takes time to put them together. It takes time to paint. It takes time to learn how to play. But if you do those things with your kids, your nephews, whatever, you know what I mean? It's a fantastic way to spend time with people. And it's exciting. They get to have fun with it, especially if they're younger. It's great. Cost is always one of the funny ones, too. Because, yes, a starter set costs upwards of $100. Most of the basic sets are anywhere between $30 and $50 now. I'm talking about Games Workshop in general. Other sets, Privateer Press stuff, usually falls in can anyways, anywhere from 20 to 40 up. It's all over the place, right? It's expensive, though. And, again, we kind of, especially when I was at Games Workshop, and I believed it then, I still believe it now, it's a far better investment than doing things like your video games. Yes, you buy yourself a PlayStation 4. $300-400 for that, right? Depending when you get it. Then you have $60, $70, $80, $90 games that you go through, you return it somewhere, you get another one, and it goes on, and you have to replace it in 4 or 5 years, and the other one just becomes obsolete, becomes basically a giant paperweight for a while. When it comes to things, I'll use my own experience. Warhammer 40,000, yes. For instance, I have one, two, three. I think of second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, like 7, 6. I think 6 Space Marine codices now. I've been through that many rule books as well, and they do go every 4 or 5 years, and that does cost a bit of money. The cool thing is, I am still using models that I've had for over 20 years now. Models that I had in the second edition of Warhammer 40,000 back in the 90s, early 90s, I think. Time blurs nowadays at my age. I'm still using them. They're still usable now. So that's a really long, you know, shelf life for these things. Longevity is incredible. So, yes, there's a cost, but it's an investment in your kids' happiness. It's an investment in your family's, in whether it's your boyfriend, your girlfriend, a significant other, child, niece, nephew. It's an investment in their happiness, and it's an investment that lasts a very long time. And I'm not saying everybody's going to get into it for 20-plus years like I have, but a lot of people do. It's just a lot of fun. I think that's the main thing that if you're totally confused, even if none of this helps, if you don't do any of your own investigating into it, it's all about these people being happy. They're happy, they're passionate doing it. Just go sit down with them, ask them questions, say, what are you painting here? What is this? If you don't get it, they're nerding out, they're having fun, and you might learn why they like it. You may even end up enjoying yourself. So, to all those, we'll call it the uninitiated, I hope this has helped. I hope this has sort of cleared things up for you in a way and maybe gotten you on the right track of going, okay, well, maybe I don't get what all these plastic miniatures are about, but obviously so-and-so enjoys it, so I'm going to sit down and enjoy it with them. Maybe I'll like it, maybe I won't, but at least I'll know why, and I won't be so confused anymore. But yeah, so again, guys, sorry about Monday. Stuff happens, unfortunately. But here we are now. I hope this has helped, And until next time, guys, keep rolling those dice.